Oh ho! We are here with another part. Investigations 2. Just making sure we're streaming correctly. Looks like everything's good here. Yes! Alright. Let's see. The truth behind the SS5 incident. I remember some crazy stuff was happening before. So, I'm ready to continue on that, babe. Well, Kay is certainly sad.
She does look sulky there.
Yeah. Sean. He was my dad? It can't have been easy learning the truth about his father's identity so unexpectedly. And too late to ever get to know him. You know how hard I tried to find him? Sean. I get it. He was the president. He had a lot more to think about than just me. But he was right there in front of me, right there on the set. So why? Why didn't he just say something? Why didn't he tell me who he was? I'm sorry, Sean. I'm so sorry. And this is a new animation for Gavel. It's not your fault, Mom. It's mine. If I hadn't broken my promise to you, that fire would have never happened, and he wouldn't have. I've ruined everything. Everything.
Wait, what fire?
It's all my fault. Remember the fire? They ruined your flowers. Sean, please, you mustn't blame yourself. Just try to be here with me. Just for a little while. The bond between parent and child, as symbolized by the lion lily. I'm no expert, but it's native to Zhangfa, so I know that much at least. Sadly, we don't have the luxury of dwelling on such things just now. I know it might seem insensitive, Agent Lang, but sentimentality won't help us here. We need to focus on what we can do about the case before us. You're right. I believe we've learned all we need to about what happened back then for now. How did it all line up with your father's theories about the case? I wouldn't know. He took those to the grave with him. He never shared his thoughts with anybody. There's no way of knowing now what he figured out. What about your own thoughts? Are you feeling any more positive in light of what we learned from case reconstruction? Are we any closer to learning what really happened 12 years ago? You remember the fire?
First I was playing. It's been a while.
I feel like it's been like 2 weeks since we played. Well, I mean, last weekend you were totally occupied, so you had nothing. My father's footsteps are starting to become clear. Now all we need to do is follow them. All the way to the truth. Oh, I wasn't expecting, this.
Big topic here.
Yeah. The president went to the orphanage that night. That much we know for sure. The Torosaurus toy proves it. He must have gone there to meet with Amelie Fenn. Except he was kidnapped, and Aldown happened to see it. If Aldown hadn't been there, there wouldn't have been a murder, just a kidnapping. Instead, they had to move his body to the planters and stage that photo to throw everybody off the scent. So that's our current theory, is it? From what I remember about the fake photograph and all, I guess on the surface it sounds like an okay theory. But there's something I still don't understand. There is. This, why risk staging the picture? They would have had to force the president to play along. What if he hadn't? It's a good question, and we may be closer to discovering the answer than we think. We'll just have to get there one deduction at a time. Yeah, I guess we will. Alright, deduce away. I've never been told that deduce away.
Hold it!
Nothing should be taken for granted at this stage. We need to treat even the seemingly certain with caution. Can we really be sure that the president went to the orphanage? I get it, you want evidence. This is a nice change of pace from people asking you to show them proof, huh, Mr. Edgeworth? There's no need to actually say it out loud, Kay.
Hold it!
plushie, it has a recording device concealed inside it, correct? It does, and it was used by Sean's mother, Amelie, to record a message asking the president to meet her at the orphanage at midnight. Whoa, you're finishing each other's sentences now? What a team! You two will peel away the layers of the truth like an onion, I'm sure of it. You do realize there's nothing underneath all the layers of an onion, don't you, Kay? Could you try to say something a little less unfortunate sounding? You two will peel away the layers of the truth like the skin of a wolf, I'm sure of it.
You like that.
He said less unfortunate sounding. You're right, he didn't like that.
Hold it!
Can we go over the details once again? So Mr. Alden saw the president being kidnapped from right by the orphanage, and he was standing next to the snowman. The murderer crept up behind him, grabbed the brick, and... Awoo! Eek! Calm down, Kay. We're simply verifying our understanding of events. Yeah, well, that little outburst just blew my understanding out of my ears. I know we have to go over all this again, but can we do it less dramatically? Really? Fine, I'm happy to keep answering if you're happy to keep asking.
Hold it!
If Mr. Alden hadn't been there, huh? That's an interesting suggestion. Care to explain? There's not a whole lot to explain. He saw the kidnapping, so he was murdered. If he hadn't been there, maybe the kidnapping could have happened without any blood being spilled. But could it? Huh. He makes it sound as if it was Mr. Alden's fault he was murdered. That's not what Agent Lang is saying, Kay. What he means is that Mr. Alden was the only person who died at the orphanage that night. Well, of course he was. They kidnapped the president and everything. But the ransom was paid and he came home safely, right? She's right, of course. Why does something bother me about that? I think it might be worth taking another look.
Because he staged another one at a different time. Not a kidnapping, but staged. Remember how they staged that thing? And just like the killer showed up?
He did the one at the,
So, he staged this first one, like, himself.
Right.
We know it's staged, but how do we know he didn't orchestrate it?
I think we might have even said that in the last video at some point. So let's press him on this, but I'm pretty sure the fourth one is where we're going to be presenting evidence. This is another very important part of our current theory. Shall we go over all of the details again? Sure, probably a good idea. Alright, first, what did Alden see? He saw the president being kidnapped from right in front of the building. The kidnappers were keen to avoid any suggestion that they might be connected with the orphanage. Yep, so they replaced the film in Alden's camera, stage a photograph of the kidnapping occurring further away from the building. Indeed, and then they moved Mr. Alden's body to a location consistent with what that picture showed. The secrets buried underneath the snow 12 years ago are finally coming to light. And we're sure that's what really happened that night. What's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? I get the sense we're still not seeing everything, but there's something else at play behind it all. There is? But what? There's a piece of evidence we've discovered that Agent Lang's theory can't explain. We have to present him with it and develop our thinking further. Well, I'm glad you know, Mr. Edgeworth. Let's see if we can figure it out.
I feel crappy because it's like 2 weeks since we played. I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'll know when I see it, right?
Yeah, I guess we'll see the evidence when we see. So, this is a picture drawn by the child who caused the fire during the incident 12 years ago. There's the two-horned Torosaurus. There's the president.
It's a knife instead of a gun.
Yeah, that's what it seems too. Let's take a look. I still think we're onto something with that. It just might not be something. Left the scene. The blood wasn't Alden's.
Objection!
You're saying there would have been no murder if Mr. Alden hadn't witnessed the kidnapping. But is that really the case? Why wouldn't it be? Their main aim was to abduct the president, right? So if there hadn't been a witness present, they wouldn't have needed to murder anybody. And yet it remains possible that Mr. Alden wasn't the only person killed that night. There was a large pool of blood between the planters, and Mr. Alden was murdered over by the snowman. Can't have belonged to him. What if all that blood by the planters belonged to somebody else? Come on, Mr. Prosecutor. You do realize what you're saying, don't you? I do. It's hard to believe. I'll be the first to admit, but it's what the evidence suggests. Not just one person was killed here 12 years ago, but two. You're saying they covered up a whole separate murder? But whose? Who else was killed that night? Whoever covered up this other homicide did so very skillfully indeed. They even seem to have been able to avoid it being mentioned in the files. They didn't quite get rid of everything. We have a piece of evidence from 12 years ago that they never managed to erase. I think so.
Take that!
Excelsius Winter tried to shroud the existence of the other murder in darkness, but there was one piece of evidence he wasn't able to suppress. Thanks to the efforts of your father, Agent Lang. My father? Cast your mind back, if you will. Something else was hidden along with all the other evidence from the crime scene. The existence of the child who set the fire in front of the orphanage. But why would Chairman Winter wish to erase him from the record? Because he saw something he should not have, that's why. He did? What was it? It's right here in this picture. Picture my father kept. I think we can all agree that's the president on the right-hand side. And that's the Torosaurus toy in his hand. But who's that standing across from him? Let's see. Rosie Ringer, Alf Alden.
It's either Excelsius Shade or the one with it. That one. Does it look like him? Go back to the picture. Oh yeah, and he's got is that the dog?
Oh yeah! Hey. I noticed the dog, but I forgot. Yeah, he always had the dog with him. Maybe, but hard to, yeah, something like that. Eastern robes and a black dog that can only be Bodhid Harmacanis. What? That creepy assassin guy? Let's see. I don't think I ever figured it out. Bodhid Harmacanis. Bodhid Harmacanis? Bodhid Harmacanus.
I don't see it.
Bodhid Harmacanus. I would Google it, but I'm afraid I'll get a spoiler somehow. So, yeah. Like, at the end of the case, let's remember to Google his name. That's right, it wasn't a kidnapping that occurred here 12 years ago. It was an assassination. Ah! And Warden Lagarde and Chairman Winter were, yes, I think they were complicit. More than complicit, in fact. Kitty! Stop messing with the wires, please. Silly cat. Alright. One provided the venue for the killing, and the other suppressed the testimony of the child who witnessed it. Mr. Alden was murdered because what he witnessed was actually an assassination, and not the kidnapping he thought it to be at all. Do you think I'm an idiot? How could the president have died 12 years ago? We only found his body this morning. He was alive and well until just recently. Yeah, we even met him. Indeed, so we have a president killed 12 years ago and a president killed in the last 48 hours. Two presidents, in other words. Right, which is completely impossible. Or is it? I think it's entirely possible for there to be two presidents. In fact, that would explain a lot. I wonder if this if this dude's an imposter and that's why he has the fake muscles. Like maybe Like maybe the first one was like a muscular dude, and the second one is playing a part. The President Agent Lang spoke of was a noble and capable. Entirely unlike the man we met. It really did seem as if they were two completely different people. But how could one country have two presidents? What could explain a situation like that? This is how it was possible. One was a body double, or they were twins.
We have too many cases of twins in here. I think it's getting old. Wish it was a body double, maybe?
I want to do a body double just because I want it to be a body double instead of a twin, but yay! It wasn't a twin. Well, I mean, if it was a twin, I would assume that that
Sets of twins in California.
no. What I'm saying is, if his father knew the president, wouldn't they be aware of a twin? Probably.
Yeah.
So that's why, yeah, body double. A body double. President Wang was a man of great power and influence in Zhangfa, a figure on the world stage. There must have been countless attempts on his life over the years, such as the one at Gourd Lake only a few days ago. It's true, there were more than a few assassination attempts. That doesn't mean I'm about to accept that there was more than one president. Not without proof. Do we have any proof that there was more than one president?
The different blood, maybe?
I mean, the different blood is very much possible, although we presented it, and I feel like this is like the theory that there's more than one president came from the bloodstain, so I feel like that's already a thing.
There's another.
Yeah.
There's another him, I think. Not another person.
Perhaps. Let's do it. No! I thought it was a good idea, too. I honestly, when I saw that, I'm like, I wonder. That's it. So. If you could prove that he'd ever been in two places at once, that would be pretty good evidence that there were two presidents, right? If he was in two places at once. I love these last cases because there's always like pages of evidence, so you really gotta think like, Yeah, that was... So, okay. So the president was at the embassy until midnight, but he was supposed to meet Emily Fenn at the orphanage at midnight. So I think that's it, especially based on what Kay said. Yeah. I don't think he's noticed the contradiction staring him in the face. Or is he just unable to accept it? What's the matter, Mr. Prosecutor? You're pretty quiet all of a sudden. In Emily Fenn's recording, she asked the president to be at the orphanage at midnight. But it shouldn't have been possible for him to be there at that time. Huh? How come? Because he was supposedly still at the embassy. With your father, Agent Lang. So he had noticed. But why and who? Who could have hired Canis or Canis to murder the president? In order to figure that out, we will need to look again at that piece of evidence we recently discovered was a fake. The fake evidence. What was it again? Good point. What was it again? It's been a little while. This? Ah, this. The picture taken with Mr. Alden's camera was staged sometime after his murder, and Mr. Alden was murdered because he witnessed the president's assassination. In other words, the photograph, too, must have been taken after the real president's death. So who is the president in the staged photograph? The body double. Nothing else makes sense. I believe the president's double had him killed so that he could take his place permanently. Excelsius Winner and Fifi Lagarde helped him do it. Darn tootin'. Wait, you don't even have a body to support your theory. Are you telling me it magically disappeared? No, in fact, we know exactly where it wound up. The president's body was here the whole time. Well, I mean... You only have a body to support your theory. Well, I would assume it was where the burn was. Maybe that's why the fire was set? Let's go right here. And what was one of the perpetrators also observed doing here? Okay, I think it's the other piece of evidence then. Ooh. Okay. I thought basically it was there with the fire or whatever. The president was killed right here. And what was one of the perpetrators also observed doing here? Oh! Are they talking about here?
Take that!
Chairman Winter dug something up last night, something he couldn't trust anybody else to retrieve. We thought it might have been the ransom money, but there was... That's right, the real president's body. I think it's highly likely anyway. What? The body may have decomposed in the intervening years, but the bones would surely have remained. Mr. Powers informed us that construction is due to start here sometime soon. Everything had to be wrapped up before then. Shooting of the movie and the recovery of the president's remains. Yeah, I guess once they started digging the place up, they would have found them pretty quick, huh? Agent Lang, we need to have the so-called monster footprints analyzed again. Yeah, I guess we do. If there was a body under one of them, there should be trace evidence to confirm it. Hey, get me somebody from forensics. Sir, presenting the findings of our analysis, sir. Traces of human remains were found in the dirt, along with other signs of a body having been buried. So it really was him. Bones were also recovered from the home of Excelsius Winner.
Ew.
The physique looks to be about right, and dental and medical records are a match. It's him, no doubt about it. Thank you, forensics man. So as suspected, the real President Wang was killed 12 years ago, and the SS-5 kidnapping was in fact a homicide. Well, that's pretty crazy. You know, the first case was crazy enough. Now we know that was body double.
I don't think anything can top that leprechaun dude that got burned alive in the carriage.
As far as...
Like weird, over-the-top shit.
You mean the, like, exorcism in the third game? Or...
Oh, that was weird.
Well...
What was the leprechaun's name?
McGilded?
Yeah.
That was a cool twist. Like, I didn't see it coming that he was actually bad. You know, until the very end when he was, like, laughing evilly, and I'm like, wait, what? What? How is this the third case and this is happening?
Then he got his comeuppance, like, not long after that.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty cool. I think the first case of Apollo Justice was pretty crazy with how that happened when you were with Kristoff, defending Phoenix, right? And then you found out your own mentor was the guy, and you're like, what? That was pretty nuts. Although, the end of the fifth game kind of threw me off guard. When it was, what's the name of the detective for that one?
Baby?
Remember the detective? The really chipper guy?
What did he do?
He murdered? What did he do? You don't remember that he was a murderer?
I can't think right now.
Apparently you can't. What did he do? He had tea. That's what he did.
How did he murder the person?
I don't remember how he murdered the person. Don't you remember, though, that was kind of like nuts because we were with him the whole game? I feel like I'm speaking a different language here.
Wait, I have to just...
Yeah. This case is taking so many twists and turns, I'm starting to lose track. Oh, look, Kay is Adrian now. Yes, perhaps we should summarize our findings just to confirm that we understand everything correctly. Good idea. Let's go over everything from the point where the president arrived at the orphanage. 12 years ago, the real President Wang visited the orphanage. His aim, to meet his infant son. The footprints we originally assumed to be those of Mr. Alden seem likely to have actually been made by the president upon his arrival. But instead of being greeted by his child, he was met by the assassin Butthead Karma Canis. That's so sad. He was hoping to see his baby for the first time, only to... Indeed, but at least with Mr. Canis, we can be sure that the job was swiftly and effectively completed. That after the assassination, another tragedy occurred. Mr. Alden's murder. Yes, it seems he witnessed a key moment in the evening's proceedings. The moment when our culprits, the so-called kidnappers, took the president's body around to the side of the building. That was the sight that sealed his fate. We've now established that he was standing by the orphanage gate at the time. Far enough away that he believed what he was seeing was the president's abduction. At which point... Oh, the body double who had come to meet up with his co-conspirators walked right up behind Mr. Alden, leading to our unfortunate eyewitness being murdered by the man who was plotting to replace the president. So was it the body double who moved Mr. Alden's body too? Yes, I think it probably was. But none of the footprints could have been his, could they? Actually, I think they could. In fact, we have a piece of evidence that proved how that particular trick was achieved. Oh, the shoes.
Take that!
What if the president's double moved Mr. Alden's body like this? After killing Mr. Alden, he could have carried him to the other side of the entrance. Given that his job was to look just like the president, he would have been wearing the same shoes, meaning that if he stepped exactly in the footprints left by the real president, of course, his would have been the same shape and size. It would have looked like a single set of footprints. So that's how it all went down. I'm so glad we finally figured it out. Wait, but there's one thing I still don't get. There is? What? Why did they need to pretend there was a kidnapping? Mr. Alden had seen the president at the orphanage, and left a message on Miss Ringer's phone describing what he thought he saw. It would have been impossible for the co-conspirators to erase that message, so they had to make it look as if the events described in the message were true, by staging a kidnapping like the one he thought he saw. Exactly. I think the two people in the photograph are likely to be the body double and Fifi Lagarde. She was the one in the trench coat. How can you be so sure of that? The two of them would have had to walk out beyond the orphanage gates to stage the photo. The body double could have put his feet in the real president's prints as he did before. Oh, so the other set of footprints were hers. The other ones we originally thought belonged to the killer, yes. They were about a size 9, too small for Chairman Winner, in other words. Which means the kidnapper must have been played by Warden Lagarde. And that explains how his so-called kidnapping was actually a presidential assassination. It does, which means my father must have noticed. There's no way he wouldn't have suspected a murder. Especially not with the kid's picture as proof. But the picture was never officially put into evidence, correct? No, he appears to have kept hold of it after taking the witness statement of the child who drew it. Yeah, because he knew. He knew President Wang was dead. And he knew what would happen if that news ever got out. Zhang Fa would have been plunged into chaos, no doubt. So he kept it a secret, and that secret died with him, even though it meant taking the blame for the kidnapping and our family name being ruined. So your father knew the truth about what happened 12 years ago, but he chose to hide it. Well, it's finally coming to light at last. Is it indeed? Intriguing. Huh? What? Who's there?
Is it the body double?
No, the body double's dead.
That would be shocking.
Is that a bell? Wait, Canis? How is he outside? Why did Karma Canis? What the heck are you doing here? We're the law. You think you can just show up in front of us like it ain't a problem? Forgive me, but I couldn't help overhearing the fascinating conversation you were having. Yeah, the opportunity to gloat over your past crimes was just too good to miss, I expect. You killed President Wang. I did, but it's not something I'm inclined to gloat over. That evil smile when he gets licked by his dog. A little bit creepy.
I love the dog, even though he's evil.
See, I don't think the dog's evil. It's just, he's... What did John Oliver say? All dogs are good dogs who go to heaven and shouldn't get cancer. Yeah. I was more interested in something else you mentioned. Or someone else, should I say. Someone you're looking for, I suppose. Exactly. That's why I took a little sojourn from the penitentiary to find a certain young pup. A young pup in a rather eye-catching red raincoat. What? Wait, you know who they are? In a manner of speaking. What did you call them again? A secret mastermind? I want to know who the red raincoat is. The prosecutor looks a little surprised, doesn't he, Helmet? Yes, he does. The young pup I mentioned, he saved my life, 12 long years ago. What? Okay, but here's the thing. What are you doing out of jail? As you have surmised, it was I who killed President Wang. But that meant that I, too, became an inconvenience in need of removal. If the imposter hadn't met my friend the young pup again, they might have even succeeded. I wonder what he's doing now. So it was the president's body double who hired you. I remember his words almost as if it were yesterday. You know how many times I've nearly been killed? Not once, not twice, a bunch of times. Why do I have to take all the risks? Why am I the one they always put in danger? When I'm out there being him, people treat me like I was him. They worship me. So what's the difference? Who's to say I couldn't be just as good as him? There was a difference, of course. Even he did look and sound exactly like him. Just because it walks and talks like a president doesn't make it a president, does it, boy? No. So he got his wish and became the boss, but couldn't quite fill his predecessor's shoes. Seems the king and his knight were much the same. The present double knew that his employer had a weakness, a young woman named Emily. But in order to find her, he needed to enlist the help of locals such as Chairman Winter. Once Miss Fenn had been located, they simply needed to find the right time to lay their trap. The meeting she arranged so the president could meet his son, that would have been the perfect opportunity. Indeed, and with the head of the orphanage brought into the fold, their little conspiracy was complete. Warden Lagarde. Now, quid pro quo, where might I find the pup? What makes you think the boy who helped you and our mysterious string puller are one and the same? He set a little fire that night, out there in the yard of the orphanage. Oh, yeah, we saw that. It was some kind of a prank, right? A prank? It was nothing of the sort, my dear. No, as I understand it, he had taken refuge in the igloo by the entrance. From there, he happened to see Winter and Lagarde carrying away a dead body. He also overheard them hatching a certain sordid little plot. A plot to remove me, the only other person who knew what had really happened, from the picture. Thankfully, he was kind enough to come and inform me. I was waiting inside the building, you see. He also happened to mention later on that he was wearing his favorite red raincoat. In any case, he escorted me from the premises. And, being a very considerate boy, thought to erase both our footprints from the scene of the crime. It seems he had a little kerosene set aside in the igloo for just such an occasion. So he spread it liberally about the place, and set himself a little fire. No way, so that's what the fire was for. It must have been ever so beautiful. Winter and Lagarde were positively enchanted. And while they were distracted by the show, he took the opportunity to usher me out of the side entrance. You never answered my question. You really think he's the one behind all this? I do indeed. Don't I, Helmet? Yes, I do. So, whoever's in the red raincoat was a kid at that point.
That's what it sounds like. Well, I'm still confused because it shouldn't be Sean, right?
Right. It can't be, because Sean...
would have been really little.
Yeah, like, really, really little. Okay, I'm not gonna press into this one.
Hold
it! You, a target, but you're an assassin. Sometimes the hunter must become the hunted. Sometimes the living must become the dead. Please, Kay, don't feel the need to add a proverb of your own. She looks so happy to say that, too. She's so cute. Impermanence is inherent to the way of the assassin. Life-takers' lives are taken, so it goes. Wait, does that mean the people you're sent to kill sometimes try to kill you back, or... It happens, occasionally, but it is not what happened this time.
Hold it!
But Mr. Canis, you're a professional killer, and a famously skilled one at that. Kind of like Shelley the Killer. Surely escaping even 3 attackers would have been little more than a minor inconvenience. You overestimate me, Mr. Edgeworth. You seem to forget that without Helmet here, I couldn't even walk down the street. Against 3 assailants, I wouldn't have lasted more than a few moments. I see, so even the most proficient assassins are ill-equipped to face a full frontal assault. We're not hugely fond of such situations, shall we say. I certainly wouldn't have liked my chances. And if I hadn't met my friend the young pup again, they might have even succeeded.
Hold it!
Again? So the two of you had met before? Yes, on a cold and lonely Christmas Eve 18 years back. That long ago. But on that occasion, it was I who saved his life. It was snowing, more than it had in years, and cold enough that death by freezing was a real possibility. I had taken Helmet out for a little walk, he noticed something, and bounded off through the snow. When I caught up to him, he was sniffing at a car. The doors had frozen shut. It took all the strength I had, but eventually I managed to open one. And inside I found two young boys, shivering and semi-conscious. Two? Yes, and had I found them even an hour later, the poor wretches would never have made it. Look at the dog. The dog is so cute. I took them both to a nearby orphanage. Isn't me, or is there something significant about what he just told us? What was it about Candace's statement that's especially noteworthy?
The
number of people.
You can't see.
Yeah. Let me just make sure, though. He noticed something and bounded off through the snow. I caught up to him. We were sniffing at a car. The doors had frozen shut. Two young boys. Found them even an hour later. The poor wretches would never have made it. He didn't say anything about the make of a car, I don't think.
No. But where's the other boy? Did you see him? Did they speak to him?
Yeah. You sure there were two children in that car? It was a long time ago, but I remember it as clearly as it were yesterday. There were two of them, no doubt about it. Why do you ask, Mr. Prosecutor? Is there some significance in the number? He's right. Perhaps there isn't anything particularly important about that just now. Well, will that be all on the matter? Maybe the date? This was on Christmas Eve 18 years ago. You're certain of that? I am. Holy smokes! We have something that shows why that date is so significant. 18 years ago, Christmas Eve. Is that when the, other case happened? Yeah, 18 years ago, December 24th.
Take that!
That was the same day in which a certain incident occurred, the murder of a well-known sculptor. No way! An incident in the aftermath of which two children went missing.
Oh, yeah.
The son of the victim, Artie Frost, and the son of the murderer, Carmelo Gusto. Yeah, now that you mention it, the little guys did go AWOL, huh? Intriguing. The son of a murderer and the son of his victim. I suppose that would make sense. It would? One of the boys was bound hand and foot, you see. It must have been part of Mr. Frost's plan to stop Mr. Gusto's son from getting to the competition. Indeed, because without his son to taste his creations, Mr. Gusto would have had no chance of winning. So that was what oh my god, I can't even speak. So that was what was behind it. Sadly, neither of the boys were able to remember any such details. They weren't? No, when we met each other again on that night 12 years ago, the young pup explained it to me. It seems that they really were on the brink of death when I found them, and the shock of the experience caused them both to lose their memories. They weren't even able to remember their names. Wow, so they wouldn't have known they were Mr. Frost and Mr. Gusto's kids. So what he's telling us if what he's telling us is true, that would seem likely, yes. Which means we still don't have enough to tell us who our mastermind might be. Mr. Canis, would you mind telling us what happened next? By all means. The pup and I remained in contact even after I was sent to prison. But then I stopped hearing from him. Couldn't help but worry. And then the people from 12 years ago started cropping up all over the place. It rather piqued my curiosity, so I thought I'd temporarily regain my freedom and look into things. people from 12 years ago. You mean Lagarde Winter and the President, I assume. Well, Warden Lagarde was in charge of the prison where he was an inmate this whole time, right? I fear I wasn't as kind to her as I could have been. But then, she did try to have me killed. You already know why, of course. Because she murdered President Wang, but they needed the world to believe he was still alive. If somebody had exposed the president as a fake, it would have been bad for Lagarde and Chairman Winter, too. Exactly. And not only that, I happened to overhear something else intriguing that night. I'll be at the orphanage on the evening of the 9th. I'll be waiting in the front yard. I thought you could meet him if you like, but if it's only just this once... I know you're a very busy man, but wait, what happened? Who are you? Sorry, but I'm waiting for somebody. Hehehe, I know you are, President Wang. I can't help overhearing the news. Congratulations. Please don't worry about which in this case means you. No. Wait, this is my first chance to meet him. And it might be my only chance. Please, just give me a few minutes longer. I thought he was going to beg for his life, but no. An interesting character. I told him I was not aware that he had a child. No, he said, and shook his head. Neither was I, but the world will know that I have one now. I mean to make sure of it. I've even prepared something in case the worst comes to the worst. The son in question, it was the young gentleman with the horns here, correct? Horns? You can see them? Hehehe, I don't need to, my dear. I've been listening very carefully, you see. And for longer than you may realize. So the president meant to tell the world about Sean, and prepared something in case of the worst. But it's not enough simply to have Conus's word on the matter. Of course! We have something that proves what he's telling us the president said is true, the will. A will everybody knew about. He entrusted it to my family to show his belief in us, after all. The name in the recording, the preparations he had made, and his will. With those 3 pieces of information, I was able to convince Warden Lagarde to do anything I asked. With the information at his disposal, he could have exposed the truth about the body double at any time. Sean's true identity with it. President Wang was more agile than I anticipated. He blocked my first knife thrust with something soft. By the time the piece I'd broken off hit the snow, my next strike had hit its mark. Oh, is that why the Torosaurus? Yes. I was the only one present to hear his final words. The only one who knew the truth about his son. Well, me and that poor pup. He keeps calling him, like, the pup, but, like, I always gotta remind myself he's not talking about his dog.
No.
What's crazy is that this dog's still alive 12 years later.
I wonder if that's who he was actually playing chess with.
Oh, you mean not Knights.
Hold it!
So you were able to continue communicating with him from prison. I was, via post office box. What's that? It's a means of exchanging mail without revealing one's own address. I never knew where he was, and I wasn't able to slip out and track him down. I was being kept under rather strict supervision, you see. By Warden Lagarde, no doubt. What were the two of you even communicating about? We were playing correspondence chat. There you go! That and griping about our respective lots in life. Correspondence chess, but didn't you used to play that with... As unlikely as it may seem, Mr. Canis' chess opponent was Mr. Knight? Yeah, it was Mr. Knight. We found the diagram of the game in his cell, too. So does that mean Knight had something to do with all that IS-7 business? Wait, could that be it? Do we have any evidence that might connect Knight to the IS-7 incident? So let me see that again. To the IS-7 incident, which would be that case with Artie Frost.
Unless his dad is Artie Frost. Because he couldn't remember his name. Did he take on a new name?
That's true, yeah.
Their whereabouts were unknown.
So maybe he was one of the boys.
Take that!
Yeah, some of the Bronxers things, right? Why not take another look-see? Maybe something IS-7 relevant will jump out at you.
Hold it!
So let's take a look at his things. I know he had the chess set. And he had the ring.
What's the name?
I don't know. The H something?
Oh, isn't that what his dad's stamp was that was in the coffin?
Take
Possibly. This is everything Knight left behind. Could there be a clue in here somewhere? Ring and a chess set. The ring. Yes. The ring! What about it, Mr. Edgeworth? Mr. Fender, take a closer look at it, if you will. That design. That's Paul Helik's trademark. Mark! Indeed, it looks like somebody turned the stamp he used to sign his work with into a ring. But why would Knight have been carrying it? Why was it not with the rest of the evidence from the IS-7 incident? They tried to release Frost's personal effects to his next of kin after the case wound down. But if I remember rightly, old Frosty Boy didn't have any family aside from his kid. And the kid was missing, so they never got to hand it back to him. Not till later. I heard on the grapevine that they found him in the end and gave him the goods. To a ring and wore until his own death. So we're saying Mr. Knight was Mr. Frost's son. Cops don't mess around with stuff like that. They would have made sure before handing it over. And we were looking for somebody connected to the IS-7 incident who played correspondence chess, right? Wait, so our secret string puller is Bronco Knight? Knight is dead. How could he possibly be involved in our current case? Far out, so our only candidate for Genius Mastermind is a guy who already kicked the bucket. That's impossible. How can a dead guy be behind all this? A little...
It's the other boy.
Yeah, that's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Gustav's son.
Hold it!
This is a new comment, so... In Braille, that's how you wrote all of them. That's right. Have the tools to do so when they sell. Huh, so you have to use special tools. Never thought about it before, but I guess that makes sense. What exactly did you write about, if you don't mind my asking? Oh, this and that, general chit-chat, and chess moves, of course. You wrote the chess moves in Braille, too. That's interesting. Speaking of chess moves, how does that piece you carved yourself move, the dog? Perhaps we can talk about that later. For now, I'd like to know what happened when the letter stopped. Hehehe. I sat in my cell and tried to imagine where he might have gone. Okay, Nope, I still don't get it. Who does he mean? Who's this puppy keeps talking about? Who indeed? It seems that not even Mr. Canis knows his true identity. So we should focus on what we do know. There was a connection between the two of them. Particularly interested in how that connection was maintained.
Hold it!
He stopped responding. That seems strange. I'm glad you agree. Helmet did too, of course. That big scary mutt really said that? What, like woof woof that's barking mad? Yeah, he does not need to talk in order for me to hear him, my dear. He doesn't? Okay, well then let me ask you something. That look he's giving me. Super intense kind of scary glare. He's not trying to say he's hungry, is he? Hehehehe. He might be.
Oh.
He might be? Mr. Edgeworth, help! Kay really isn't fond of Kane's pet, it seems. Yes, there's a good boy. Now, where was I? Ah, of course, I suddenly stopped hearing from the pup.
Hold it!
It does all seem like a little too much of a coincidence, doesn't it? An attempt was made on the life of the man who was pretending to be president and weighing all these years. Warren Lagarde murdered Bronco Knight while he was being held at the prison she ran, and Excelsior's Winter, chairman of the Committee for Prosecutorial Excellence, murdered Rosie Ringer. And the more I think back, the more it seemed at the time that some mysterious other presence was lurking behind all those incidents. Yes, even from behind bars, it was rather obvious that something strange was going on.
Hold it!
You thought you'd temporarily regain your freedom. Could you be any more brazen? Yeah, even a thief would struggle to get away with something like I thought I'd temporarily steal it. Fear not, nobody was injured in the course of my escape. It wasn't necessarily after all. I have my ways. Let's leave it at that, shall we? Leave it at no way, pal. You escaped. I ought to arrest you right now. There'll be no need for that, detective. As soon as my business is concluded, I'll return home to my cell. Are you serious? Prison isn't supposed to be some place you can just stroll in and out of when you please. Strange that you should say that. Weren't you the one who strolled in to try and dig into my past only recently? You. Agent Lane, Detective Gumshoe, need to be able to question Mr. Canis further. Could you both try to remain calm for now? Sure thing, sir. Kinda knew you were gonna say that. Fine, but I'm not taking my eyes off of Dogman. Not even for a second, you hear? How the connection was maintained. Let me press him on this again, since we don't have to... Just playing Mr. Knight. It's gotta be something to do with this.
Oh! You have everything so...
I gotta think we do.
Because he did have tools in there. We don't know what they were.
I don't have it on us, though.
Is that what he said? Bronco would have to be there.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. Which maybe he does.
I see how Bronco has wound up as BFF the scene.
What if that's the guy?
The other kid.
What if he's the other kid? That would be crazy.
Because we've said all along their relationship doesn't make sense. One's a little badass and the other one's afraid of his shadow.
So maybe that's what it is the whole time. Let's see, though. printed rather than handwritten.
Objection!
You said that you wrote all your letters in Braille, is that correct? I don't mean to be rude, Mr. Prosecutor, but you do know about my condition, don't you? That's odd, because the chess diagram we found in Knight's cell didn't contain any Braille at all. Really, but surely that's impossible. How so, exactly? Maybe someone typed Mr. Canis' letters out on purpose, meaning there might have been some sort of intermediary between the two of them. So then, Mr. Canis says he wrote his letters in Braille, and yet, the letters received by Mr. Knight contain no Braille at all. This suggests there must be a third party who typed Mr. Canis' letters out. Guess it could have worked the same way on the flip side too, right? Whoever it was could have taken Knight's letters and turned them back into Braille. They could indeed. I think you and Mr. Knight were both communicating with this person, Mr. Canis. Mr. Canis, the answers you received, they were written in Braille too, yes. So some mysterious middle person really was retyping the Bronxter's missives. And that same person might well be our secret string puller.
Ah, and the monkey pulls his string with the circle.
Oh ho ho ho! You're trying to say there's another hidden mastermind behind this whole thing. So who's this new one? Bronco Knight, son of Artie Frost, is already dead. But what if the other child from the incident 18 years ago was actually who we've been looking for? Well, Augusto's son. But who is he and where is he? If Knight was Frost's son, Gusto's son would have to be... I've known him since we were kids, when both of us were all alone. He doesn't have any family, you see, just like me. Him, but surely not. What's the matter, Mr. Edgeworth? You're white as a sheet. Of course, it all makes sense. I know exactly who our so-called mastermind is. What? Who? You have to tell us. I can hardly believe it, but it's somebody we know rather well.
Simeon.
Yes.
Take that!
Didn't he really murder that person before?
Oh, that would be kind of crazy. If it wasn't the guard. Yeah. It has to be the person behind all this. The person who forced Chairman Winter's hand by sending the letter to Rosie Ringer. The person who kidnapped Sean and Bug Kay and myself. The person who did the strangest thing of all. Who drugged Kay and carried her up to the roof of the big building. It was the monster. What? Did you really just say what I thought you did? Yes, the monster. That was the key to unmasking our mastermind. Yep, and there's the pulling of the strings, Ratatouille style. I'm actually kind of proud of us for figuring that out. But you know why though? I made the suggestion it was him. But you've been saying all game for months. Why the hell is he Knight's friend?
I just said yes, I'm sorry. Family game.
Yeah, but it's true. Like
I couldn't figure. There's no point in them being friends. They're like polar opposites.
yeah, which makes me think this is. I mean, because the way he talked to us on the phone was different than this personality of his. So this must be a front. Sure did. Like I said, I didn't precisely see the guy, but boy, did I hear him. Can we listen to the tape? You surely can. Let's see now. That's it. That sound. Must be what I think it is. My theory has to be correct. The truth about the monster, the identity of the person behind all this, it's all falling into place. Miss Hart, you saw a giant eye at the window of the storeroom, did you not? Yep, snapped me a picture of it too, even if we can't rightly see it so well. We can't see it right now, but... Detective Gumshoe, yes sir. Your image analyzer, can we borrow it again? Sure, but what do you want to look at, sir? This photograph right here. Gotcha, I'm on it.
Eureka!
Oh wait, we gotta zoom in first.
Really?
Eureka!
Okay, kitty?
Oy.
That's... See, I done told y'all, Torosaurus his own dang self. Heh, yes, there it is at last. The monster commanded by the architect of this whole scheme. Monster? You're finally ready to admit it, that he's dang well real, the big bad bull himself?
Objection!
No, because that isn't Torosaurus at all. It's the eye of a different giant beast entirely. Take a look at this if you would. The very big circus flyer. Oh wait, look! You see it? The enormous lion balloon? That's the real monster. And sound Miss Lloyd thought was the creature breathing fire? Aw, oh, come on, you're really gonna bring me crashing down to Earth like that? That's how balloons fly, huh? They burn gas to make hot air? They do, and our culprit was able to use that balloon to carry Kay up to the roof of the big building without ever going near the elevator. So this culprit, they've got something to do with the circus. Circus worker, friend of the Bronxto, son of Gusto. Whoa, 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 you're not serious. You forgot to mention trainee animal tamer. Heh, it's hard to believe. But he's the one who's been pulling the strings this whole time. That's right, Simeon Saint is the one behind all this. Simeon? But everything? Really? I don't believe you. We trusted him, and he trusted us. You can't tell me that was all lies. That would be too horrible. I'm sorry, Kay. Who was that? Hey, where do you think you're going, old man? Hehehehe. Nothing escapes you, does it, young pup? My congratulations, Mr. Edgeworth. Now that I know the truth, my business here is done. What? No, Mr. Countess, wait! Damn it, he disappeared. Are you okay, Mr. Edgeworth? Don't worry, I'm fine. Damn you. Are you alright, Sean? He killed my dad. He did, right? There's no easy way to say it, but... Sorry, Sean, it would appear that he did. He won't get away with it. I'll make him pay. Somehow, some way. I'll... No, Sean, you mustn't say such things. I'm sorry, Mr. Edgeworth. You'll have to forgive us both. I just put the call out, sir. All units are on the lookout for Mr. Canis. I don't mean to hurry everybody. We'd better be on our way, too. Well, Mr. Prosecutor, where do you think we'll find our mastermind? I suppose you're right. We should go after the mastermind right now. He said he had to practice for the show, which I guess means he'll be at the circus. But before we leave, there's something I'd like to ask of you, Agent Lang. There is? What? Once a beast has been sighted, the next step is to plan its capture. When we arrive, there's something we'll need to try and find as a matter of priority. And Detective, I'd like you to look into something that's been bothering me about Sean's kidnapping. Yes, sir. I want to help too, Mr. Edgeworth. Good, there's somebody I'd like you to try and contact. If Saint really is our mastermind, we're going to need this person's help. Between our many encounters, I never suspected a thing, even though he was right there in front of me. I messed up. There's no other way of putting it. But I'm going to put things right once and for all. And there's a stopping point.
That's a good stopping point. If I can go to sleep.
Dang.
I'm shocked about the new developments.
Yeah, Simeon Saint. Like, we were able to figure it out before the reveal, but, like, only like a few minutes prior.
Yeah, but I didn't...
But I didn't expect them until then.
No, because, I mean, I was always like, how the hell are these two friends? But I didn't suspect that there was something sinister going on.
Never. They just seem like, you know, a bit goofy, but there's a lot of colorful, goofy characters.
Yeah.
Wow, well.
That's a big new development.
Yeah, that that was pretty huge. And there's been a lot of twists and final cases and all that stuff. Um,
I didn't see that coming.
no, like yeah,
But now I want to know if he really was innocent.
I'm curious about that. I'm curious what's still bothering Edgeworth about the kidnapping. Um, and just really curious any other loose ends that are tied together because like Shelley the killer. I don't know if he knew about this or not, or if he was depending on us because I feel like we haven't seen the last of him.
Shelley the killer seemed to know the correct answers when the president got kidnapped. And the
Yeah,
innocent guy got killed. Rook, when Rook got killed.
yeah.
He seemed pretty upset about Rook.
Like I feel like he knew about the fake president or something.
Probably.
Wait, well, that was quite the, the turn. um, the mastermind's true face. We're nearing the end. We're nearing the end of the final game. Um,
We bought tickets to Japan so we can fly to Capcom and be like, hey.
where's my Ace Attorney 7 or Great Ace 3?
Colorful characters.
Yeah. Well, now that they have everything out on modern consoles, they need to give me a new Ace Attorney by the end of the year. God, look how long we've been playing this. We played the second case of the first game back in September.
This has been a long game though. Not only because we couldn't play a lot, but like these cases are much longer.
I mean, some of the cases are long, and then there's there was the wedding and the planning and all that stuff. So yeah, we've been at this for a while. Um, but I guess over the next couple of weeks, we're going to be closing in on the end here. Simeon Saint.
Simeon Saint is not a saint.
Apparently not. Apparently not. All right. Well, anybody there, thank you for watching. We appreciate you. And I think by this weekend, we'll have to continue where we left off because this was quite the turn.